Hello.
Hi.
Boers and Bernstein here. We are waiting momentarily. Lovie Smith is due to take the podium in a minute, and I'm also told Jerry Angelo will follow.
So as soon as anybody is there to talk, we will have it for you.
Yes, we will.
On what is, for a lot of reasons, a dark day in Chicago sports.
It is a day when I really am, starting from this morning on, I didn't need to hear much to know that I'm really ashamed to be a Chicagoan today.
You should be.
I am. I'm completely ashamed to be affiliated with the ignorant bastards who felt it compelled to call this radio station and refer to Jay Cutler as a coward, a quitter, and all the other crap I've heard. When you don't know a damn thing. First of all, I didn't need to know a damn thing this morning to be outraged by their stupidity.
And as we build up to this, let me frame this by telling you this is one of the most important press conferences in Bears history, and I'll tell you why. You've got a quarterback, the most important player on your team for whom you traded, who is under contract through 2013. And because of misinformation and stupidity, he is now dead to a significant, stupid, vehement, venomous portion of your fan base.
There's the key word, though.
But perception is reality. They've got to get out ahead of this story. If there is no professional image manager in that building, get one. I talked to two separate crisis PR experts today, both with sports experience, one in Chicago, one in New York. And I asked numerous questions about what should be going on here, what the significance is, and how they would handle it were they hired. And both say this is a significant issue. This is a must-win situation today for the Bears. In getting out ahead of this story, pushing back against the misinformation and stupidity.
Well, it's just basically stupidity.
To reclaim the reputation of the man who's going to be quarterbacking you for the next 3 years.
More than misinformation, it's stupidity. It's no information.
Right, but what's happened is because the Bears and Fox screwed it up so badly yesterday, and because it's Jay Cutler, let's not excuse that. Because it's Cutler, because it's this guy, because he has not cared about his image, they need to make sure he cares about his image. They have to care about his image. It can't be, well, the people in this building all know how tough he is. The people in this locker room know. No, this is what happens when you don't care about image. This is what happens. And it's happening now, and it's dangerous, and they've got to fix it.
If you're a Bears fan with a brain that actually works to some level above second grade, you don't have any right to question his toughness because you don't know what you're talking about if you watch the games.
That's absolutely true, Terry. You are 100% true, but it's beyond that.
Well, I'm just talking about the fans who have called the station or alleged fans who've called the station. I'm not going beyond.
Cutler is not as a leader. If you want to succeed in the city of Chicago, you better have an attitude. I'm tired of watching this guy with his head down when he walks off the field. The defense got beat up bad.
Yeah.
Our defensive leader came out, made a play, got a pick. Okay? Cutler's girly girl, prepubescent effort today doesn't cut it in the city.
I don't want to hear from these people. If they call, don't put them on. I don't want to hear from them. I don't want to hear from them.
All day this one on. That's what I'm talking about. I understand the bigger picture as well. I'm just talking about my anger, my disappointment, my reluctance is directed solely at those who call this radio station. Because we should be better than that.
It's not just people who call the radio station. There are professionals who are saying the same thing. There are people in our business who showed their ass on this story. People in our business.
A whole bunch of them.
Who've embarrassed themselves.
Yeah, they have. Do you really?
It's the worst thing you can say about a professional athlete. Yeah. Well, and you decide that you're going to say it without knowing what's going on.
Look, the only thing you could have done then, in retrospect, then, is to just not bring him back out to the sidelines. He wasn't going to play again. Don't list him as questionable. Don't bring him back. But I'm sure he wanted to watch the game. He went back and he wanted to try again. The thing is, though, how do you get that to people?
If you want to say
how do you get that to people?
If you want to say he was bad. You didn't like the way he played. You were disappointed. If you want to say you're not certain if he's ever going to be the quarterback you thought he was, totally valid, completely understandable. You want to talk football, that's fine. But the other accusations that are being made.
I now declare this freaking idiot convention.
It's unconscionable, and
it really is.
This is a tremendously significant press conference for the Bears, and unfortunately, I don't think they know it. I don't think anybody in that building understands how important this press conference is, nor do I think they're capable of framing a message. This is when you spend money to bring in people who know what they're doing.
Well, I think
this is when you hire people to get on message and figure this thing out and reestablish and reinforce the reputation of your quarterback.
Might be a little late. You've already taken a full day's worth of
down their leg.
What did you suggest they do?
As soon as they knew that he was not returning to the game, and they'd done the field test, and they determined the likelihood of a torn MCL, which they knew which those trainers and those doctors and everybody knew by doing simple stability tests of that knee.
How does swelling affect that?
Well, that's usually more ACL. That's like when Curtis Enos was put back in. Enos tore his ACL, which is central inside the knee capsule, and it's much harder, especially with a big, strong leg, to use the valgus test, the Lockman test, and the drawer test to determine that. But in this case, usually that's a quick little slide left and right.
Wobbly.
Well, you couldn't do it.
A doctor can see
I know
the
he
wobble.
couldn't do it. But I'm not. Look, look. Somebody, if they dropped the ball or not, I don't think it would have stopped the entire thing because I've heard people, no matter how bad he's hurt, he should have played.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter to them.
You're probably right, and that's
doesn't matter to them.
What I wrote this morning is they could say he has a completely torn MCL, and people say, "So suck it up,
well, he
get
does.
out there."
That's what they're tweeting now. Big Z.
People need to stop bringing up the Phillip Rivers comparison because it's wrong. It's wrong.
And Phillip Rivers left the game that he got hurt.
And you prepare on one for an entire week.
Yeah, he left that game.
In-game injury is different from preparing with an injury.
Look, I've always felt that the Bears' whole thing is just is bad because they don't feel they have to be good at this sort of stuff that we're talking about here. But I don't know how you make a diagnosis that could be wrong. But you don't list him as questionable. You list him as out.
And if
you fear something,
yes,
and then you get that up, and other than that,
if there are HIPAA regulations that don't allow you to do that, you go to Cutler and have some. You have to envision the size of the story, and you go to Jay and say, Jay, we have to say this. We have to put it out there why you're not playing because here's what could happen. Here's what could get said. Well, it made my heart hurt to see that guy burning the jersey.
Idiot.
Well, that needs to stop.
That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. It's the entire morning, it's the entire night, it's the entire thing of this kind of stupidity that went on and on and on, and it's like, oh.
You know, even if it's a sprained MCL, a sprain is a partial tearing of the ligament. You call it a partial tear. That's a fundamental mistake. Oh, it's just a sprain. He should have been out there. I sprain my things all the time.
People are already saying that on the internet.
Already. They screwed it up. He blew it. Who is running that shop up there? That is PR Clown College. You don't let him get a sprained MCL. You don't let him minimize it. His job, if you're trying to protect your asset and protect the reputation, is to let people know just how severe it was. He's got one job. And people are paid up there to remind him to do it. It's a huge mistake. And it just hurt the remaining years of Jay Cutler in Chicago and just hurt his reputation.
Unless he wins the title.
Congratulations. Even then, congratulations, Bears. You just turned him into Jay Pippen without Michael Jordan ready to ride to the rescue with 6 titles. Nicely done.
You would have had to do it a lot of damage control from what's been said in the first, let's see, 1 o'clock since 5 o'clock this morning. That's 8 hours of it. 7 hours of bashing and beating up and killing. I mean, really.
There are various degrees of sprain.
Yeah.
And you have to, what you should do is go through exactly.
Well, he just had the MRI, right?
Yeah. And if I were there advising him, I would probably tell him to inflate it. I'd say whatever it is, this press conference has got to come off worse. I might have even, if I were made sure that he was on crutches on the sideline. You just have the doctor hand him a pair of crutches.
They haven't said what degree it is, correct?
Yeah, but they haven't said that yet. But still, this was the chance. God, are they stupid? We're waiting for Jerry Angelo.
Yeah, it does. It really, though, whatever it is, and we know that this is something you can't play with. This is very obvious. And he answered the question about the Super Bowl. It'd be doubtful if he could play in the Super Bowl. It doesn't excuse the stupidity that went on. Because for whatever reason, and being a fan is somehow transferred to this beast that comes out at a loss that's just completely
the better team won.
Disturbing. Yes. It's not like a big secret that they are the better team. They won the game, and it just. I mean, I've been doing this since 1992, and when I say I'm really disappointed, the most disappointed I've ever been in the people who call this radio station. This is by far. I can't even tell you what's second. The reaction to this, it is just Neanderthal and idiotic. Completely not understanding a thing. I mean, if you're a Bears fan, you know better. I hope you do anyway. I really hope you know better if you're a Bears fan. And as far as those dumbass players tweeting or whatever it is, they're a bunch of dumbasses too. Deion Sanders, king of the dumbasses, closely followed by all the others.
I'm not surprised the Bears screwed this up, but this was their chance today. That's a bad press conference loss. That's what that is.
Well,
you have Tim Brame up there is what you do. You get your head athletic trainer up there.
Maybe they're not aware of what's being said. What the idiots are thinking. Maybe they're just choosing to ignore the idiots because
it's just for me to really feel bad for Jay, I don't find Jay Cutler any more likable than anybody does. But
no,
I know about knee injuries.
Yeah, they made him the sympathetic figure.
Not among some.
Talking about the people that were saying he wasn't tough enough.
Oh, right. They did with me.
But I feel bad that the Bears think they're helping him, but they're not really.
Well, I'm not going to hold them up to that. I'm going to hold stupid to their word.
Yeah, the reaction is the reaction.
Yeah, the reaction's a reaction. No matter what even if you're
before you even knew, that was the problem, Burns.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
Before you knew,
right?
It didn't matter.
Right.
Nobody knew anything until about an hour ago.
34 games of his Bears career, he's gotten his ass kicked every week.
Oh, big time.
And just so people know, a sprain is a tear. It's not a complete rupture. Just for look at these. I can't. It seriously makes me sick.
It was amazing
to see the emails that I've got, the 20 all caps emails I've gotten, and all of the texts that really are trying to. They think they sound tough by referring to him as a female body part.
And this has gone on all day. This has gone on the entire day. This is.
Really,
it's one thing that's been applauded about the guy is about the beating he stands in and takes every week.
Right. This city is filled with some really, really awful fans.
They are.
Really awful fans. Not everybody.
Fans. But they watch a lot of games, so they think,
there's some
it's
really,
like doing an exercise.
But if you watch a lot of games, you should know
day.
better about your quarterback than that.
Really vocal, really, really bad fans.
Yeah, and I here's what I hope, and I really, I met any number of Bears fans, whether going all the way back to when I was covering them and all around them, and a lot of them were really inherently decent people. It struck me as, and maybe they're the ones who are calling for all I know. But if there's another generation of Bears fans or the older generation of Bears fans that are just, they were lining up in the cave this morning to use the phone to call, and the theme never changed. It's just.
And I'm just as disappointed in the Bears.
Well, I'm disappointed. You can be disappointed.
You've got to let people know why he came out of the game.
Yeah. Well, I think on the sideline, they did the best. Well, first of all, you shouldn't listen to his question. You should have listened to him as out.
It was mishandled by the Bears and by Fox yesterday, and it was mishandled today.
But again,
it's a must-win today that they lost.
It goes back to the most fundamental thing. If you're a Bears fan, you don't question his toughness.
Right. He's
fundamental.
Cutler's kind of done here now. You realize that, don't you?
Well, he might have been done before he started.
No, but he's. That's it. You don't come true or not. It has nothing to do with the facts. The facts don't matter.
So you think the perception of this that remains? You think that the dumb will hang on to this perception?
Are you reading these texts?
No, I'm not. I can't see it from my
what
angle.
A baby! Ha ha ha! What? This is a new record for use of the P word.
Okay.
And I'm not. You want to say he was bad? That's fine.
Right.
He was bad.
He was.
He was. You want to say you never, or you're not sure if he's ever going to be great? Absolutely fine. Go ahead. But I'm really just disheartened.
No, it actually made me sick to my stomach this morning. Just like a 10-minute ride, and it was like one ride after the other, rapid fire of some of the most mouth-breathing, dumbest asses on the face of the planet. That I think they were all using the same phone. It was just handed around,
and they told him not to go back in.
Right.
They asked the doctors.
By the way, that was in the papers.
The doctors and the trainers advised him not to go back in.
That could be found.
And he insisted on going back in.
I got a text about it, and I put it on Facebook, and everybody, I thought he was going in. Where's your tough guy now? And I just stepped back from it, and I said, okay.
It was in the papers. If your computer said, which I assume some of these idiots have, if they found electricity yet, you can look it up and see it. I'm sure it would have been somewhere overnight. You could have found it, that's what happened. The coach said that's it. He came back and said, then the coach said that's enough. It's not like this is such a big secret. It was in both papers. There were direct quotes about it. No more. The coaches stopped him from going on. Did that stop any of this? Not for a second. It's not only, apparently it's hard to read while you're mouth breathing. It really must be. I don't get any of this. If you want to complain that he had a bad day, yes, he did. Yes, he had a bad day. But for a guy who's been hit like he has, he's been beaten up like a piñata for 2 years now in a Bears uniform, and then for you to question his toughness after all the shots he's taken and kept getting back up and winning games for this team, helping to win games for this team that won 12 games that I didn't think could win 7. 11 was like a great season for this team. So, I mean, it's completely undeserved.